Welcome back to day 332. You know how I say I'm always really tired? Can you hear that? I really hope you could, because that was some of the worst lines in this whole shebang here. God, I'm so tired. Got so many allergies. Got up, only slept for a few hours. Been up for a while. 13 hours, but only on like 4 hours of sleep. 13 hours on whatever amount of sleep. So I chugged a coffee so I can stay awake enough to do this, even though I'd rather die. Not really. I'd just rather take a nap. Yeah, we made food, and I'm like, eventually someone's gonna put it away, not me, right? Eventually someone's gonna put it away. Someone's gonna put it away. No one put it away. When I came down, I thought I was the only one left awake. And I'm like, I can't let it go bad. So I went and I started putting it away, and my sister came down, my sibling, and put the rest of it away from me because I was so tired. My cat wants in. Okay, my cat's in. Woo. Let me die. Yeah, we went to a Halloween thing. On a farm. Because that's what we have around here, farms. But because there's no alcohol there, because it would be a whole lot of stuff they have to do for that, so they're like, no. None, boy, none. So they got it. So, but because it's the only thing lead around here, it's Halloween, no alcohol. There's a bunch of teenagers, and let me tell you, it's very funny. Shut up, Mark. Shut the fuck up, okay? I drink so much water. I can drink water. I drink so much water today because I'm so dehydrated, my dude. You're like, well, then you're not drinking enough water. No, you have something very salty. My dinner, my siblings like I salted it, but then I'm like, okay. I've been drinking a lot of water. I just keep getting up and drinking more water, and then I sit back down and I go, oh my god, I'm so tired. Anyways, so what happened was, we went out to a Halloween thing, and there were so many teenagers there, and let me tell you, oh boy. But I also felt like a child because my sister put my armband thingy, my wristband, so tight, and I couldn't put my finger. It was so tight against my skin that I couldn't put my finger in between the band and my arm, and I'm like, why would you do that, my dude? And she's like, I didn't think. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, can I get a new one? To the employee lady. And she's like, yeah, dude, here you go. I'm like, thank you. So my other sibling put it on, my sister put it on me instead, and it was much better. Just like, how dare you make it so tight? So farm animals, hay. Did not do the only thing we really actually went and did, which was the hay ride. And I'm like, guys, can we go through the other stuff? No, because you're too scared for it. To my sibling, it's like she's too scared, so she didn't want to go through it. And I'm like, but that means I can do nothing. Maybe I should have just, no, I couldn't have done that. I was gonna be like, maybe I should have just gone through one, but no, we have time slots, so I couldn't just do it. I would have just like, okay, let me do it early, but no. So I went around and there was fire. Oh, I paused by accident, my bad. Whenever he's like, are you okay? And then, the other one says not mentally. The other one, Ethan says not mentally. It just reminds me of that Dirk Gently season 2 scene where it's like, can you turn into a bug? He's just like, not physically. I don't even have the energy to sit up, you know what I'm saying? You think that this is gonna bite me in the butt later? Probably. Right? Like in the future it's gonna bite me in the butt. Yeah, I think so. Anyways, so what happened is, got a new armband, and then a few people asked me which way to go. And I'm like, I don't know, I got here a little bit ago, I don't know. But luckily I walked around a bit, so that one person was like, which way to the maze? And I'm like, it's that way, and then someone else was like, how do you get to the other attraction? I'm like, I think you go back, and then you go the other way. And then I realized there was a map in front of us. So then I'm like, next time someone asks, I'm just pointing them to the map. But and then I didn't, because I knew where the corn one was, so I just was like, I'll just do it. Anyways, I think the best scare actors for me, the others were few that walked around and walked up like behind you and like, ooh, she kind of looked like the Babadook. But there was like a different ones and blah blah, which were fine. My favorite was one kind of gnome-ish creepy guy, but he would sit or stand really, really still until someone would pose with him, and then he would move, and it was so good. So good. So when, because they legitimately, I guess, thought it was like a stuffed guy or a mannequin, and it was so good. It was like a handful of scare actors walking around the field. A lot of them were part of the actual attractions, but like what they were having like this way to the exit, and he decided to sit there holding it until a group went by. And I guess he could recognize that because I was looking at him like, oh, so he didn't do it to us. We was like, oh, I know you, you're a guy. But then the next group, and I guess they just didn't pay him any attention, so he knew, oh, they don't know who I am. So he jumped out, and he didn't like jump out and scream or nothing like that. He just literally said like, have a nice day. And it's so funny because it's just, yeah man, I thought this was almost over but no, we're only halfway there. Yay. This though, overarching 360, I was gonna say 360 no scope, but 360 is actually really close. But 360, because it's a 90-degree angle, but 365 is a year. That's interesting. Math, you know? Anyways, so that was my favorite fear actor, was that guy who just stand there or sit there until people would go up. And then it wasn't a fear actor, he was just a fire guy, fire dancer. I don't know if he was a fire eater, but they were definitely fire dancers. So they kind of just had fire go woo, dance around, swirling and obviously having immense talent. But if you know Unus Annus for watching this, you know the fire eating episode. So we're like, oh my god, if they just inhale. Because a few of the times they kind of proved they like let the fire touch their tongue. They didn't really do. The guy, one of the people, he just like swallowed it to like put it out, but it was so windy he couldn't do that very often. And also I think it was didn't work. You can tell he like tested and he's like, so he only did it like once, because I'm like, it's not worth it, it's not worth it, it's not worth it. So anyways, so one person, a group of people were like, go take a photo in front of the fire dancer, and he's up on a stage and he had hard fire, I think they're like kind of like daggers with like a ring on the end, so he would twirl them. Anyways, so a group of teenagers were like, go to the one guy, like, we'll take your photo. And I think it was innocent, but he goes up, he turns around, and the fire guy's like, so he starts hitting the fire daggers against the floor to make a noise and scare him. It was very funny. He tried it again later, but that person was just like, what's going on? Because I don't think they really realized. I don't think they really didn't pay attention to him. Like, it's a guy with fire. You're not gonna pay attention? But anyways, so I couldn't do our one thing, which was a hayride. But apparently one of the actors, the figure actors, had a chainsaw. A few of them did. We heard chainsaw noises. It was honestly just so loud. I had such a bad headache. I took Motrin. They had chainsaws, and we never went close to any of them, but they had chainsaws, and apparently he like stuck the chainsaw into the crowd and like put it back, and someone's like, what if they actually got cut? And my sibling was just apparently was sitting there like, there's no chain on it. Like, but they weren't getting talked to. My sibling wasn't getting talked to, so she like didn't know what to do because like they just took the chain off. I don't think there's any moving parts on the outside of, if I'm not mistaken, of a chainsaw, certain chainsaws, but chainsaws, if they don't, I don't think there's any moving parts exposed if there's no chain on it, so you won't get cut. Do you think they're putting actual chainsaws with the chain on it into a crowd? So I'm like, that would be the most dangerous thing ever. Chainsaws, one the chainsaws that I would order for would be actually for, well, not chainsaws, just saws. Sorry, the saws that I ordered for were for concrete and stuff like that are really, really tough. So it's like diamond outside or crusted or whatever nonsense because it's strong. And it's like, do you think that they're gonna get a chain and keep it on that thing? It just thought that was unrelated. It was just like, by the way, I did that. But it just like, I don't know, it's just like, no, there's no, the chainsaw does not have a chain on it. And then later, apparently they had fake, cattle prods and stuff, like with tasers and all that. And I'm like, did you think those are real too? Like, do you think those are all real? Do you know how bad that would be? No. No, honey. The most dangerous actual thing there was the constantly being watched fire pits. But what really got to me was this guy. Can I say? I mean, there's no way you can find him from it. I reckon. So we're getting our tickets to go in. This is way more crowded than we thought it would be. So we're like, okay, maybe probably a handful of people. So many people. And I'm just like, back off. I hate you out. Scare you. And I'm wearing a mask the whole time, but people are like some people literally go like this and either just lift it away from their face or put it under their chin, talk, and then put it back up. And I'm just like, okay. So anyways, so what happened is this guy, and I recognized because he was very, very young, fairly young looking, almost kind of has a fear of messing up in his eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's kind of like, it is what it is, man. But then a little bit of, well, you're really screwing this up and I don't want to get yelled at. And anyways, on his name tag, it was Michael B. And I remember because I was like, Michael B. Jordan, you know, Michael B. And then it was like that Vine where like Michael with a B and it's like, where's the B? And it's like, you know, that Vine, you know. And so what happened is, it just stuck in my head and it was smeared. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, that's weird. Why did my brain recognize and keep that for so long? We're going to get snacks because we have to wait for our attraction time. So we're walking around, we're looking at things, blah, blah, blah. Actor tried to scare one of us, and my sibling just got annoyed because she was like, what is bothering me? Like, what's touching me? Turn around and she's like, Babadook lady. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. And I'm just like, yeah, that's how I accidentally ran into the werewolf guy. So the werewolf guy kind of butted into me. But anyways. The cat is turning. Very cute. Anyways, what happened is, we get there, and I'm like, hey, listen, I can't have the cone part, but I would love the soft serve part. Is that okay? Like, do you have, like, you know, I know you have cups for root beer floats, you got a cup for, like, blah, 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 blah. Can I just have just the same amount of either for your root beer float or for your soft serve, just put in not a cone? Is that okay? And I realized the guy has the same fear in his eyes. A little bit of, oh god, this is not in my normal script. And I'm like, you look very young. And then it hits me, and I look down, name tag, Michael Smudged B. I'm like, that's the same guy that just, not just, I mean, it was a little bit, that gave us our wristbands. And so I'm like, Michael B? And I'm like, that's the same guy. So we walk away, and I'm like, to my sibling, I'm like, this is the same guy. And they're like, really? I'm like, I swear to God, it's the same dude. And this happened previously, which was really funny. When I was flying way pre-COVID, a few months pre-COVID, we were flying back overseas. So with that, there's a lot of checkpoints. I was like, that's a weird term, and I'm like, I think that's the real term. So we check in, and right before the kiosk, there's a person checking to make sure you're in the right line, make sure you can actually do the check-in, whatever. So before the actual check-in, there's a little like check-in, make sure you're also not taking anything. So like, like, did you pack your own bags? And we're like, yes. He's like, are you sure you know what's in your bags? And I'm like, yes, I want to go home. Anyways, so we're like, we have a freaking international flight ahead of us, so we're like, we're good. So anyways, this guy, fine enough, but he stood out somehow, shape, or form. He stood out. Maybe he had a ponytail, I don't know. He stood out. So we go, a lady texts us in at the actual kiosk. We walk through, you know, security and everything. And then to get to a certain part of the airport, there's another check-in to make sure you're going into the right part of the airport. Because I think it's international flights maybe, or overseas flights or whatever. Which I guess is international. Is international if you just cross a border? Anyways, so we go, and we're doing the second check-in, and I'm looking at, I'm like, that's the same guy that did the first check-in. And I'm like, how is he in, like, acting like he's working, but it's acting like he's been doing this so for a while. And I'm like, we walked straight here. We didn't do anything. We didn't dawdle. We went straight here. He was just in check-in. I'm like, okay, that's weird. We go through the line, and he's like, haha, you know, nice to see you again. And I'm just like, how did you get here so fast? Weird, right? We continue on. We go. We are now right before boarding the plane. They gotta check your tickets again. Same dude. No joke. 3 times. 3 times in this airport. 3 of them. This guy is the one checking my ticket, and I'm just like, how are you getting here so fast? From the second check-in to the third check-in, it almost makes sense. But from the very first one, it's like, what? So I guess he must work that particular airline, question mark? I don't know. It was so weird. And I was just like, okay. So it was like that, where just like, this is the same employee. Can we not hire more like extras? Too many extras? We can't hire more? No, we have to have the same extra for each role? That's when you know you're tired, when you're starting to think paranormally. Ghosts. The occult. Other things. I'm going to bed. I'm moving.